welcome. So some people...
Welcome to what? What's
Chai
the show
chat.
called? Okay, good.
So some people say Shetha and Adana.
For Shlam al-Akhmariyan?
Yeah, what's up with that?
The chai is really weak today. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, it's okay, man.
Please accept my apologies.
I actually have some.
Oh, you have some water or something?
You guys want chai?
You're going to pour?
No, it's too hot for
Pour
chai.
it. It's chai shed. We have to pour it
yeah,
at
we
least.
It's too hot for it, man.
It's like it's very nice today. We did this during summer and it was fine.
Shethab motha or
Shethab
go.
motha.
So it throws off like when you're praying together.
Yeah.
Then you have somebody saying like Dahawab Shethab
Look, this is a village thing. There's a village difference.
I know.
We're talking about the Hail Mary in Chaldean.
What's proper? That's what I'm saying.
The word is the hour of our day.
Sha'fa, right?
Our,
Sha'fa.
not
Sha'fa.
Adana.
It's not Adana. I mean, I know the village issue. I'm kind of like divided on this just internally. But it's our. The word is our. Yeah. So
Sorry, guys.
Sa'a, Shetha, not Adana.
Why is he apologizing
No,
to
it's
us?
Sheta, bro. I'm sorry.
I know, but why is he apologizing to us?
They say that.
Is this our topic today?
Yeah.
Listen,
Should we make the topic villages?
yeah, you know what?
We can
Let's
make the
talk
topic
about
villages.
that. Let's talk about
Okay, that's our topic. Now, we had another topic. We're going to talk about this now.
Listen, do
Okay.
you know what a big problem is? Is parents that are villages, they force that upon their kids. Honestly.
Villagist.
Villages, so it's not
Really?
racist.
I know somebody, I'll tell this story, that was like almost engaged.
I'm good.
And they were both born in America. Neither of them has ever seen Tilkepe, Elqush, Batnaya, whatever village you want. Nobody's ever seen, neither of them has ever seen it. They were dating, they got along fine, and one of the grandmas found out and broke it up.
That's sad.
Yep.
I've heard.
I've heard that more than once, but somebody
Yeah.
like I'm fairly close to that happened to, and I was furious. Of all the stupid, moronic, idiotic things, don't even censor that. It was a very stupid thing and very harmful to people's lives.
Just because
only because
was a
of the
different
village. Literally only because of the village.
What would be the cause of parents and grandparents and whatever forcing that upon their grandchildren? What do you think the cause?
Stupidity and nothing other than stupidity. Are you zooming in on me?
Is not something.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, sorry, I don't mean to be that mean, but it is.
What's the secondary cause?
Vanity,
Because
malice.
I guess some people see a certain hierarchy with the villages, right? I think that could be one of the
It's
reasons.
racism. It's like racism.
Yeah.
It is racism.
One
It
is more
racism,
dominant
yeah.
than the other.
It is racism, and there's no plurality of races here to like be racist
Yeah.
about.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
that's the
one
crazy
race,
thing.
but it's village. That's what I call it, villagism.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't stop there. They bully the people. So, for example, if I'm someone, let's say an old lady comes up to me, "Hi, Abuna, how are you?" This, that, right off the bat, make it. And I do the thing of, I'm Chaldean, Suraya, Catholic. La la ado ado. Yeah, really. Where are you from? And then I'll tell them my village, and the immediate response, if they're not of the same village as I am, oh it's okay, it's okay. Yeah, don't worry,
Yeah.
it's okay.
My condolences.
You'll be fine.
that means we're all one.
My first time I ever did the Emmaus retreat in Michigan, I had a couple of the leaders calling to like get the parents involved and whatever, and they were talking to one of the moms. Oh, your daughter's going to the retreat. We just wanted to let you know. Blah blah blah. And she was like pissed off. She's like, "What is this?" And oh yeah, the church thing. Who's going to be there? And then this kid is like, the retreatants, other retreatants, father. Who are the other retreatants? Menila, it'd be Menila. Umekela. Because she was just dying, like scared to death, her daughter would meet somebody from another village. Again, her daughter has never been to that village in her life. Probably the mom had never been to that village in her life, except on vacation one time from Baghdad. Anyway, then he's like, this and that. And then he mentioned me. He said, Father Andy's going to be leading it. And she's like, I'll make it.
Oh my gosh.
You want to make sure the priest was from the right village.
And you're a hybrid too.
I'm a hybrid, so I'm just a mess. Yeah, my family's like a mixture of all kinds of different villages. And so, yeah. Wait, what the heck? Why?
You know what's funny about that? When I went to the villages, before I got ordained a priest, we went to almost all the villages in northern Iraq. There are more villages here in America than they are in the villages. When I was there, no, they're welcoming all different kinds with open arms. I'm not going to say it was always like that, because I think that's where being a village is derived from. But
and like the majority of villages that like a lot of people are from, they act like it's a different country. Like they literally act like it's another race, and you could see one from the other. They're like a couple miles away from each other.
Yeah.
What the heck? Grow up. And because of that, they're that close to each other. And you're in another country, but your grandma was born 5 miles away from his grandma. Therefore, one is better than the other, and they can't get married or whatever it is. You know, you can't trust them. There's something wrong with them in this. Oh my gosh.
Or they try to put makeup on it and say, oh, we don't know them that well. That's why.
Yeah.
We need to know them really well.
They do the they say that, and then they also do the every village has its own kind of stereotypes, you know. So if somebody is from one village, they're afraid of like the characteristic type based on the stereotypes. But who's actually thinking about it that deeply, anyways? Like, I mean, that's not valid because it's totally judging everybody in that village.
Exactly.
And they're raised here, so like the whole American culture thing totally obliterates that whatever character would come from that village. But then who's even thinking about that? It's just pure racism. I mean, the reason why they're doing it is because they're another. That's it. They're of another race, and that's it.
Yeah, rather than, you know, looking at the character of the person and especially also their faith, you know. A lot of I mean, what's the most important thing when you're looking? Because, I mean, one of the things where we see this problem so much is when it comes to marriages, you know, nowadays. And
do they even ask, does the guy go to church? They don't care.
Yeah, it's that's the first thing on their mind, you know, besides... It's like more important than faith. I mean,
what does he do? How much money does he make? What village is he from?
Yeah.
Who are his parents? God help us, man. And we have to deal with this. And we're not even married. You create problems for me.
If someone is still a villagist in America and thinking that it's okay to do that because everyone else is doing it, the reason why I think it stopped in Iraq is because of all the persecution. So they started welcoming everyone with open arms. You just want to make sure you have each other's backs.
Yeah.
And if they're doing that back then, you know, in Iraq, and you're still stuck in that same mentality here, that says more about you than anything.
Yeah.
You know?
I heard a story when ISIS was, you know, going around. They would go and they would ask the people, what are you? You know, they wouldn't look for a certain type of village. They wouldn't say, you know, Chaldean, Assyrian. They would say Christians. That's how they identify all of them. Suraya.
So what's the? I mean, it would be like, I'm trying to like imagine
what
something
do we do?
that's no. What would be the equivalent here? It'd be like, no, I'm not going to let you talk to my sister because like you grew up in La Mesa.
Yeah.
Like it's something like that. And I'm from, you know,
Oklahoma.
I'm from Spring Valley, and you're living in La Mesa. No, we can't. It's like that.
No, they do that here too, by the way.
What?
It's basically
different zip codes.
Even geograpphically, it's like exactly the same, right?
They do that here?
Yeah,
like
we have Bostonia over here.
92021.
We're
St.
9/2021. He's 9/20/20, 9/2019 right here.
I think it's just people like. Let me give you my little speculation. At best, people are so insecure about themselves. They feel so lacking and empty in their lives that they have to find a way that they're better than others. Because maybe deep down they don't believe that, and so they need to find a way, okay, my house is like farther from sea level than yours, I'm higher up a mountain, and so I'm better than you. It's a way to make themselves feel better because really deep down they understand that they're not, and there's something missing in them. And instead of actually fixing that and understanding themselves better and becoming a better person, they just have to like push others down.
Yeah. And I think and I think something that follows that is people thinking they're privileged, like when it comes to priests and stuff, you know? I can't tell you how many families, and I'm sure you guys have experienced this too, saying, oh, why can't you do this certain favor for me? We're from the same village. How could you betray me like that? You know, when it's something that's church policy.
I don't owe you nothing, dude.
Honestly, you know, like, oh, wow, we expected much more from you, you know, but it looks like you're not, you know, you're not loyal.
I destroyed that like my first month of the priesthood. They were trying to, this or that. Like, yeah, sorry. You fill out the same paperwork everybody else in the world.
Exactly.
Even and my relatives like are so good with this. Like they understand. Like I don't do favors for people, and none of us do. We're all like, you know, this is just about being honest. It's nothing personal.
Yeah, it's a service because we all have human dignity as, you know, children of God, and that's what it is. And so I think it's just a lack of that balance of life and prioritizing, you know, relationship with God. And really, I mean, it could be a sign of a lack of faith as well, for sure, you know, because you don't
Yeah, I
see
can see
God
that.
as the most important, and faith and good morality as more important than just like where you live and where you were raised.
Yeah.
So if the priest does that, because we're priests of the church, right? Priests of the entire church. We're not priests of any village or any family or any last name or anything like that.
Yep.
We're priests of the church, right? If the priest is going to be like that, where everybody is a child of God, everybody has the same privileges that come from God, and we don't add to any of those, right? Everybody else should be the same. Everybody else should be the same. Everybody, the villages thing, and really any form of racism like it, really destroys the integrity of the body of Christ. You know, that's why St. Paul, when he says,
No Jew or Greek.
there's no Jew nor Greek, all that stuff, there's no distinctions, no one is better
Partiality.
than
God
another.
doesn't show partiality. I mean, yeah, God. I mean, you have to be like God, right? You know, God doesn't show partiality with that.
He makes it rain on the good and the evil. He makes the sun come up.
So
on
what's
the
the remedy for this? Because
What do we do?
the older generation, I think that's a lost cause, to be honest with you.
We wash our hands of you.
What about the younger generation, the young adults, and because it's sort of seeping through to them? I've seen it. That's why I'm saying that.
Here's the thing. It starts off as a joke,
You're right.
you know?
It
Oh,
does.
you're this, and they'll kind of like joke it becomes, but then, I don't know, like it sort of sinks in a little bit. So maybe the solution is like, be careful with, I'm not saying don't joke. It's joke about it like you joke about everything, but like, you know, be careful with it. Don't hurt people's feelings. Once in a while you're joking, you're teasing, whatever,
Yeah.
you're this or that. I mean, I do that to you sometimes, you know? And I do that, whatever, I'll tease people. But like, you cross a line when you hurt somebody's feelings, you gotta sort of know your audience, know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Especially with that topic, you know, because that one does have a really strong tendency to go from joke to, I don't know, it seeps in and it becomes actual like competition somehow.
Yeah, I mean, you already sort of are moving this direction, but we might as well just universalize this to race in general.
Yeah.
Because, okay, once in a while you'll get somebody from a village, oh, I don't want you to marry this other person because they're from a different village. It's once in a while. It's not the most common thing in the world. Oh my gosh, when it's somebody who's non-Chaldean, holy cow, it's the end of the frickin' world.
Yeah.
And if they're black or some other race that so a lot of people are racist towards, oh my, like, it's just literally the end of the world.
They call them Mindani Khinna.
Whatever it is, yeah. Like that, holy cow, like these are
the
human
others.
beings too.
Yeah, the others. To
Yeah,
anyone that's not
Mindani
Chaldean.
Khinna, the other.
The others.
It's literally xenophobia, like by definition.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're afraid of somebody because they're like, these are human beings. Treat them like human beings. I don't know how you listen to the gospel and pray to the God who's the God of all of us, and you don't understand that, you know. So I don't know.
And yeah, what are you teaching your kids at that point?
Yeah.
Like, what's most important in life?
No,
Just the way you look or where you're
there's something
from?
that is like worth saying about the village thing. It's like, okay, there's a positive aspect to it. Just like we were talking about the other week with drama and like, look, it's a result of closeness to each other to some degree. Okay, look, I get the village thing. Like, okay, it's cool. Like, we grew up in the same neighborhood. We have a lot of shared memories. That's amazing. Share those memories and be like, and then you tell your kids like, oh, me and your friend's dad, we used to like live close to each other in the village. Okay, that's neat. Your kids don't care, believe me. Like, you know,
Yeah.
but it's a neat thing to sort of remember, and you can feel if it encourages your connectedness to each other, great. But what we're talking about is the negative aspect of it. It's excluding. It's causing you to be separated from others, not connected to others.
Right.
Racism is similar. Like, okay, look, we're all Chaldean. We have a lot of shared values. We all have similar family experiences. We have a language that we share. There's a lot of liturgy. Beautiful. That's great. And insofar as it connects us to others, that's amazing. But when it starts to be a cause not of connection, but of a disconnection from others and exclusion of others in a way that's like not fair, then it's harmful. It's sinful. You know.
So I mean, taking it like even more like
Yeah.
further up, like nationalism. Nationalism has its good aspect, and then it has its really dark, evil aspect.
Yeah.
You know, the nationalism that's good is that okay, we have these common values, we have this common tradition, we have these common customs and things like that.
Yeah.
But then once that commonality turns into you turn inward, and then you hate everybody that's not a part of that common value
Exactly.
system.
Or you think of them as less or something.
Or you think of them as less,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, yeah, and you're free to harm them. Or
I
whatever.
do think it's not. I do think it's unrealistic to attempt to eradicate closeness to people that you're close to. Like the fact is, I have a one brother and one sister. That's it. I'll call somebody else, oh, you're like a brother to me. You're like a brother. You're not my brother biologically. There are people that are close to you that are close to you. That's it. And I love being Chaldean, and there's going to be people that I'm going to have certain things in common with because they're Chaldean. And that's okay. We shouldn't feel like bad about that.
Yeah.
It's when it crosses the line to I hate anybody who's not. But that doesn't mean this sort of universal brotherhood, and we should all. It's kind of like this thing in Plato's Republic, it like makes almost a joke of doing this, like, oh yeah, we're all sort of siblings, literally speaking. No, you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There can be a kind of brotherhood insofar as all of us are human. Fine. That isn't the same though, as I'm physically, biologically brothers with somebody, or I'm related to you, or I'm of the same like language or culture, or of the same country. There is a validity to that, to a certain, in a certain sort of way. But you're right, it very easily slips into hatred of others. And so there it needs to really be hatred or looking down on others or whatever. So it really does need to be sort of put in check.
Yeah.
Does the Word of God say anything about that?
Yeah, so I think everything we're talking about, sort of this passage encapsulates everything. In the Gospel of Matthew, he says, Jesus, stop judging that you may not be judged. For as you judge, so will you be judged. And the measure with which you measure will be measured out to you. So, sorry, there's a fly. So when I was reading this, I was thinking about, okay, how many times have I judged people that are, if they're from a different village or non-Chaldeans or whatever, we're going to be judged, equally to that. Right. And how worth it is it for us to be judged in front of the eternal God, for something so silly, like being a villagist.
Mm-hmm. And we're being judged in that way. I mean, you're excluding them, so they're going to exclude you, and you look down on somebody like who's not Chaldean. What do you think people think of Chaldeans?
Yeah.
And you're going to justify your belief about certain race or certain village or whatever. They can justify their negativity towards you too, but those are excuses. Those are not. It's not according to reason, because of what Father Simon said before. That individual is more than just a label or a race, a member of a race. He's an individual. He's a human being, sort of more fundamentally than anything else. And so you'll see them as a human being, as an individual, and maybe they're of a certain race, and maybe you have certain ideas of that race, but that doesn't mean it applies to that person.
Yeah, right.
And that's where the judging thing is.
Every race, every village has their, negative qualities and also positive qualities, right? But at the end of the day, we're all dignified human beings, the children of God, and to live according to that, to make that the most important thing in our life, that we're made in the image and likeness of God, and that ultimately we should all be striving to live as members of the family of God too, as baptized Christians.
That's why I think that, like, okay, so villages or nationality or culture, whatever, these are links that connect us one to another, but they're relative to like religion, they're weak relative to religion. I think that the faith is a much stronger link between people, which is the one that we're supposed to.
It should be a stronger link.
Yeah, it should be the stronger link, because that comes with like worldview, that comes with what I think about God, what I think about who I am, who man is, and everything. Yeah. The commonality that comes from the faith is much stronger, and it goes much deeper in the heart than superficial things like what kind of food I eat or whatever.
That's why we would historically call ourselves Suraya.
Yeah, that's
I mean, identity. Here's the thing: even like the idea of a country or a nation is a sort of new thing. I mean, there were empires before. There was you're a member of the Roman Empire, and then you spoke a certain language, and maybe there was a name that was sort of good. But like the idea, like I'm from this country, from this place, whatever. I don't know. It's not as ancient a thing as we would think about.
Yeah, the country. Yeah.
Like when we were to ask, okay, what would Aramaic-speaking Christians have called themselves in the 5th century, nationally speaking? It's an alien question. It didn't really exist there. Their identity sort of was, we were the Christians. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, so there's that. There's my identity as a Christian. The thing that follows from, though, is not a particular village. There's sort of two layers here. There's, okay, my identity as this faith in Christ it is worth saying that there's a kind of step in between that and humanity. You know? So it's not just I'm human. So what are you? What are you? What's that? I'm human. Okay, that's right. And I'm Christian. Okay, cool. There is something in between that, though, which is the culture, because the gospel is preached to all nations. So there is a sort of legitimate place in being Chaldean. But it's the Catholic Church, which is universal to all nations. But it's all nations. It's not all. It really doesn't. The organization is not all individuals. So there's a place for nationality, but it's a place. It's not everything. I think that's the way I would kind of organize. And then the Catholic Church, I think, is very smart about this, because we have the sort of individual churches, like the Chaldean Church, the sort of rites or whatever you want to call them. They have their place, and there's their own dignity, and there's their own liturgy and practices that are absolutely legitimate and equal in dignity to each other, to each other. However, we are all Catholic. And so there are things that tie us all together insofar as we're Catholic, and there are things that tie us all together insofar as we're human. And there's something really beautiful when you can kind of hit that level. And I think when Christ talks about going and preaching the gospel to all nations, the foundation of that is you work with what you have in common with the person you're talking to. And St. Thomas went to India, and culturally there's not a lot in common there, and yet there's enough common humanity between people across the world where they would recognize something true about what he's saying, even though it's in a totally different language from a totally different culture. I think when you hit that, there's something just beautiful there. Yeah.
That's why I think that the faith is the strongest bond between people, because it gets to the core of what it means to be human.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
It does that better than any cultural identity can.
Yeah.
And I'm not like disparaging cultural identity, of course. I mean, the Catholic Church does a beautiful job of respecting culture, and then also at the same time recognizing that there's a bigger thing that unites all of us.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the Catholic Church really does a beautiful job of doing that.
But at least in theory, sometimes in practice.
In theories, in practice, sometimes even the whole racism thing happens within the church, which is unfortunate. You know,
Sad.
Sad. Shall we?
Are we on time? We're good?
Yeah.
Are we? Okay. Are we doing the thing with the thing? It's only been a week, man. We're so worldly. Where's my thing? Okay, here's that. I have an announcement. I just got a really interesting email. You know Kindle, like Amazon Kindles and the app and stuff like that? You can now read comic books on them.
oh,
That's very exciting.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
So, what'd you get?
What did I get? Let's see.
Oh, here.
sorry.
Oh,
One more.
Here.
I got a priest that I live with doesn't have an Amazon account, so he wanted me to buy him shoes. So,
Not to name names.
not to name any names.
Okay, I guess I'll go next then, because I bought some Uggs.
oh, nice.
Winter's coming up, you know.
What is that?
These ones, man.
Is that what Uggs are?
Well, yeah, they make different styles, you know.
I just heard.
Don't you have a pair?
Not bad.
Maybe. I think somebody gave me a pair. For
I have a
Christmas long
pair.
time
I have a
ago.
pair.
Are these right?
Yeah,
These are good, huh?
they're legit.
Oh.
They're good for the snow.
Can you guys
We're
buy
not
me a pair?
sponsored. We're not sponsored by UGG.
Yeah, seriously.
by
We're
Uggs.
gonna get some free copies. Did you get anything?
I don't know,
Bro, you have.
I don't think so. No.
You're part of the show, man.
You have
I
to
know.
check.
Okay,
What do we do about
okay.
this?
You have to bite that. You have to sacrifice for your brothers and buy something.
What did
Ask
I
your guardian. Ask your
would I-
guardian angel to remind you what you bought.
I bought a Star Wars novel
Nice, man.
and a pocket knife.
I bought an audiobook, I guess.
Okay.
What book?
Um,
If it's the same one as last week.
yeah, I know.
Dang it.
What do you call it, man?
Harry
I
Potter.
got a C.S. Lewis thing. I got a C.S. Lewis book.
Which one?
I think I got his collections.
Oh, okay.
They had these collections
Nice.
of him. It's a bunch of his books.
Okay, fine. That's acceptable. Are we gonna sing now?
We have to.
What are you gonna do right now, man?
We have to.
Is there one about nationality?
No, it's just cross.
Not the same one again.
No, this is not the same one.
That's not the same.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did.
Father Simon, please start it.
Please.
Wait, I don't know how to start this one.
In him our heart rejoices.
Your cross, O Savior, which united height and depth by its great power and its glorious might, unite the whole world that is troubled by its sins, and make your peace dwell in all the earth.
See you next week. What do we
Peace.
say? Yalla bye.
Yalla bye, yeah, there you go.
صحة
This fly was killing me the entire time.
Really?
man.
I wonder why. What,
I don't smell
it
bad.
was going near your
I
coffee?
don't smell
It
bad.
was near your coffee?